Alright, character sheet seems to be in order. What's your new hench cleric's name?
Gnomey McGnome.
No.
The Gimp?
No.
Meat Shield.
No. Portable hit points? Anyone have any actual name ideas?
What, you want to call him Donner, Lifesaver, or something?
Yes, perfect. That'll do nicely.
That was a joke. I was trying to come up with the lamest name I could—
So, Donner Lifesaver, Gnomish Cleric, joins the team. When the players see the Game Master as the enemy, and the Game Master's goal is to kill the PCs, as long as it's done fairly. Casualties are inevitable, but for some reason the casualties always seem to be Azeron in the Nerf Wars.
Please click like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
First off, I have a couple balance changes to announce. The druid spell Animal Growth is banned. Azeron had brought in his new character, a psionic warrior named Malavon, but we'll continue calling the player Azeron for consistency. The Game Master's Animal Growth ban is greeted with blank looks from Balkoth Varian and Azeron. The spell had never been cast, and being a druid spell, probably never even been looked at throughout the entire campaign. It was just too insane. Now, after some consideration, I am going to adjust the Vrok's telekinesis ability to be only 3 times per day, rather than at will. It is a very high-level spell for a monster of their challenge rating. That should also mitigate the concerns some of you had about being fly-kited with telekinesis. Unless anyone has any objections. The players weren't about to complain about a slight nerf to a monster, but neither were they impressed. Okay, while you're balancing things, how about putting a limit on their mirror image castings? 3 times, 6 times per day, whatever, just so there's a finite limit. I don't consider that power to be a problem. You guys make too big a deal of it. At that, our dedicated band of cohesive gamers once again become embroiled in the same argument about the brokenness versus irrelevancy of Vrok demons and their at-will mirror images. Skipping ahead, I'm sympathetic to your plight, but—
No, you're not. You said you're not.
Look, I only make these changes to improve the game for everyone. I've been so tempted to whip out Animal Growth against you guys, but I haven't, because it's just too broken. If a druid ever grew his animal companion and you guys were being shredded by a gargantuan bear, but I'm banning that spell so it won't destroy the game. Oh yeah, and the armor enchantment changes really helped us to lower our armor class. GM's armor change was one of the longest standing and most contentious house rules he had made. Back when the party were only level 3, GM had envisioned how easily the players, once they had access to more gold, would be able to boost their armor class, rapidly enhancing it to the point that 80% of the level-appropriate enemies in the monster manual would need to roll natural 20s to hit them, or very nearly so. So, GM had decreed that the maximum magical enhancement bonus for armor would be limited to half of that armor's AC bonus, rounded down. The players, for their part, feel that GM had slipped through that nerf with minimal complaints because they weren't rich enough for a limitation on expensive magic to affect them at the time. And now, at level 11 and beyond, they feel that they are being unfairly penalized. GM would counter that even with the change, only a few monster types, such as dragons and elementals, have a decent chance to hit Balkoth, and that without the change, the game would now be almost unplayable. And back and forth, the stale arguments went. GM started trying to change the framing, to present ways that some of his balance changes were beneficial to the players, usually by preventing him from using some brutal combo against the party. But this only inspired the players to dredge up more and more of their other complaints.
And don't forget removing the dwarven anti-trip bonus.
Saying this, Varian suddenly realizes how potentially explosive that statement could be, and looks over at Balkoth, the dwarf player.
And then suddenly every enemy in the next 3 sessions has 4 scrub minions with polearms surrounding me and making trip attacks?
Well, GM ponders how to respond. He feels the change is perfectly reasonable. Dwarves already have 1,000,000 abilities, and +4 is a very large bonus, even if it was only on defensive trip checks. However, he is at a loss for how to turn that negative into a positive to tell the players, until Azeron gives him an opening to change topic by mentioning another contentious change. Or there was the full plate nerf. See, by changing full plate from +8 AC, max +1 from dex, to +7 with up to 2 points from dex, your maximum armor class is unchanged, and this way you don't have to worry about every fighter type enemy min-maxing with only 12 dex. You mean you don't have to worry about us min-maxing with only 12 dex?
Oh, that would be terrible.
Also, when combined with the magic armor nerf, your +7/+2 armor does cost them a point of AC from enchantment, and it limits all characters to using either full plate or chain shirt.
How so?
Full plate used to be 8 AC, which would have allowed +4 enchantment bonus under your system. But reducing it to 7 AC while characters can compensate with dex means you only let us enchant it to up to +3 because we have to round down. Well, half plate is worse in every way, and the medium armors, which have the same speed penalties as full plate, they only give +5, another odd number that gets rounded down to +2 enhancement. So if you can wear heavy armor, there's no reason not to take full plate, but if you can't, you can get a chain shirt for +4, which only requires light armor proficiency with no penalties and more dexterity bonus than medium armor. And your rule allows just as much enchantment bonus as any other armor except plate.
Also, almost every fighter type we've fought has been using half plate, +6 AC and 0 dex allowed, which they can still enchant by +3, and it means the enemies can min-max down to 10 dex, which gives them even more points to put into strength or con. I like half plate. It's efficient. It also sells for a lot less than full plate and weighs a lot, so you guys don't always haul it with you. It helps me avoid giving you too much treasure.
Then there's the Cloaks of Resistance.
I still let you buy those at double book price, and they're still too good.
You just don't want us to have them because you don't want us to cut the head off your casters.
Banning a spell Silence. You can't tell me Silence was a positive contribution to the game. Okay, Silence was a little strong. The power attack change. The power attack change was needed so we don't have giants cleaving Azerons, or vice versa. I limited the choice of energy type on all those psionic powers so that enemies couldn't use them to get around all your protections as easily.
You mean so Varian wouldn't instantly kill your creatures?
Varian was the only one affected by that change, but monsters were far more likely to have protections against a specific energy type than the players. And while Balkoth is not always a fan of wizardy characters and their pansy hide-and-run ways, he has a certain soft spot in his heart for allies who occasionally vaporize annoying monsters. I changed Blink to be beaten by Uncanny Dodge due to popular consensus.
Yeah, after the fact.
And I eliminated certain broken prestige classes, plus I fixed all the rogue-type ones by pushing back their first sneak attack die so they don't get it until level 2, which saved you from running into any assassins who got 96 bonus damage by taking 1 level of each prestige class. Not necessarily a bad change. None of them are bad changes!
Maybe in the Eye of a Rock.
After Azeron's untimely death last session, GM is eager to get things moving again, so despite having left off in the middle of the desert, he Deus Exes in the new player character along with the NPC healer GM is forcing upon the party. This healer, who is built by your humble narrator to be good at his job and decently min-maxed, would be role-played by GM, while a different player, chosen randomly each week, would have full control over the cleric's actions in combat. Alright, character sheet seems to be in order. What's his name?
Nomi McNome.
No.
The Gimp?
No.
Meat Shield.
No. Portable hit points? Anyone have any actual name ideas?
What, you want to call him Donner, Lifesaver, or something?
Yes, perfect. That'll do nicely.
That was a joke. I was trying to come up with the lamest name I could...
So Donner Lifesaver, Gnomish Cleric, arrives alongside whom? Azeron?
Oh yeah, what time is it?
About 8:15. Anyway, my character is named Malavon. She's a human-looking female, about 160 pounds, has black hair with a white line just down the front. She has chains wrapped around her waist and one over each shoulder. Great, a chitin. In case I need state the obvious, Malavon, Azeron's new character, is not one of the infamous chain-wielding demons. The new cleric healed Varian, who revealed he had spent the last 2 fights with only 21.5 hit points left, a single strong hit or 2 weak hits from possible death in level 11 combat, which helped, if not justify, at least to explain his minimal contribution in the last 2 battles. Then, after a successful rest, the heroes were almost immediately chased down by another, much larger demon. The Glabrazu towered over them, with 2 large muscular arms and 2 even larger pincer claw arms above them. Magically flying up from behind, it matched speed some 150 feet back and made telepathic contact with the party, or, more specifically, with Balkoth. The creature's voice in your head commands, "Cease your flight."
Are you a good, mediocre, or evil creature?
I'm lawful mediocre.
I am willing to parley.
Why would we want to talk to you?
If you perform a service for me, I will reward you greatly. They do stop to parley, since the demon has demonstrated that it moves fast enough that they cannot outrun it. The towering demon proposes that they return to the dungeon beneath that desert temple and slay the remaining mind flayers within. For him, I will generously forego your destruction, and I can provide you with information crucial to your mission. You, Tiefling, what reward would you want?
We will do it if you grant us, 3 wishes.
You know that what you ask is ludicrous. It is not a possibility.
They wouldn't have to be all at once. 1 on completion of the task, then 1 a year from now, and 1 the following year. We could wait for that.
Apparently, Omit knows exactly what is possible. Specifically, that a Glabrazu demon has the power, once per year, to grant a wish in such bargains. Which is not to say that it would grant a wish for something this basic. Do not forget that I could simply smite you all. I am of the Tanari, the masters of the universe. I am being gracious to offer you any reward for this. Play stops for several minutes as players giggle, sing the old He-Man cartoon's theme, and make frivolous comments about the demon's Masters of the Universe comment. Once they get it all out of their system, players resume the serious matter of trying to decide whether to haggle with Demon Boy or just fight the evil being, knowing that they would probably win, but with a high risk of casualties. What of you, Scion?
I'm sure we can come up with the information elsewhere.
Not in time. But what is it that you desire?
What I want is something that you cannot give me.
Got any boots of flying in that sack?
I could grant your request in exchange for a small additional service from you.
What service?
There is another individual who I would like to see removed. Your basic assassination mission.
Who do you want killed?
An individual in the city. If you would remove them after destroying the Mind Flayers, I could provide you not only with the item you desire, but also important information on the plight of your people.
What about my people?
It's the quest to unlock dwarves as a playable race.
What I know could help you to save the dwarven race from their current plight.
The dwarves don't need any help from a demon.
The Glabrazu, already growing frustrated at the hero's lack of enthusiasm,
decides to take this as an insult. Beings of infinite self-confidence and massive pride, Glabrazu enjoy making deals with mortals and getting others to do their bidding, a trait more befitting of devils. But they are still demons at heart, meaning they relish havoc, destruction, and above all physical combat. And so it starts by backing up and casting one of the party's favorite spells, Mirror Image. Next time on the Nerf Wars. Please like, subscribe, and click the little bell thingy. Or follow me on Patreon, free or paid, where your email settings actually dictate what you will see. And comment who you think is the worst this episode. Of course, the best, as always, are my Patreon patrons who make all this possible.